today what we're going to do, we're going to study the 5th chakra. That's the throat chakra. And as I always do, I show you a picture of what I learned, say 40 years ago, when I was very young. And you see how clear it is? It's just so clear. And now the new chakras that are coming out, where new energies are flowing through the earth and opening up our new avenues, this is what they look like. Isn't that wonderful? You see how the energy just flows from what they did, what they knew all those years ago, to what they know now. I think this is so wonderful. And of course, I'm going to start out with a little question here, seeing if you have any difficulties in this chakra area. And this is just for you, so you would just put down a yes or a no and find out. I'd like to ask you, number one, do you have a difficulty in expressing yourself? When you do this, do you have anxiety? Do you think before expressing yourself in order to make sure that you're correct? Do you take your frustrations out on people that are responsible for the cause of your action? In other words, do we take blame? If you did something, do you take the blame? You'll say, now why is that connected to this chakra? Very simple, because if someone said, I found this, you'll say, oh, I didn't do that. So you know there's a little area in this throat chakra. And also if your creativity is blocked. Now sometimes we don't have a rhythm in our life, so if we don't feel that rhythm in our life, that could be part of the throat. Also, if we have a thyroid problem, this could be part of the throat chakra. A hearing problem could be part of the throat chakra. It's all connected. Do you have difficult time deciding for yourself what's right and wrong? Do you hold a job for a long time, or you just go from one job to another? And do you take yourself in life too seriously? Do you laugh? Do you have fun? Do you want to play all the time? Sometimes those are little simple questions that we can go through and check ourselves out. As we talked before, the location is in the front of your throat, and the chakra angle is slightly raised at the back of the body. So actually you have a slightly raised from the throat chakra to the back of your body. The symbol here is the 16 petals of the lotus. 16 petals of the lotus. And they represent unity. This is what this is all about. Unity. And the triangle that we saw within this here one, you see this triangle right here? The triangle, that means indicating the oneness of spirit. Whatever you feel, the three represent. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, mind, body, or spirit. Whatever the triangle represents for you. So we know that this is increasing oneness with spirit. It's what? Communication. When we speak, we're communicating. So the element here is ether. And when we master this chakra, it will help purify ourselves by honestly recognizing how we feel and what confidence we have when we communicate with others. And you'll find some people cannot communicate with others. And this is part of the problem. So when you have this is why, as I repeat it many times in many of these classes, this is very good for anyone, a light worker, healer, to know what the problem is. When you simply ask a few questions, you'll know where to go and how to help that individual. And the color of this is usually like a clear, bright blue, a lapis blue. Now, this is the closest we could get to lapis, probably. You know, lapis is beautiful and has a little bit of gold in it sometimes if you look at a lapis stone. And also it can be a turquoise shade because it also is coming up from the thymus gland. So you see, that's all the color. See the triangle here. See the triangle right here. And the sense of this, we all have senses with the 5 senses. It governs the hearing and it governs our speech. Self-expression. The gland we know is the thyroid and the parathyroid gland. It grows for all aspects of growth. It's our temperature control. It controls the energy production that we have. And our parathyroid glands also govern over the calcium metabolism. So we have that gland that works, and that's all in the throat chakra. Who would think all of that were there, right in this top part of our body? So the connection, we see each chakra, as I've spoken, has a connection with another chakra. So the connection to that chakra is associated with the sacral. That's your second chakra. This is where creativity begins. So, and that's about 3 inches below the belly. 3 inches below the belly. Remember that this is an emotional chakra too, and it also represents the reproductive system, the sacral chakra. So you see sometimes how we feel if this, remember all the things in that sacral chakra that we had to get over. Sometimes if we're rude and we speak rude, it might be coming from that second chakra. So that's why we have to work with both those chakras. Now, what is the spiritual connection between us? Is the spiritual connection to this chakra is, guess what? Patience. Wow. And this is a power of choice. It's harmony with others and harmony with yourself. We have to get rid of the I, the big ego. We all need ego in order for the I am power, but not the ego of I am better. Do you understand? The ego is a real big iffy sometimes when we talk about chakras and we talk about ego, because we all do need ego to be able to expand. If I didn't have part of my I am ego here, I couldn't be standing up doing this. And also this spiritual connection is purification. Because why? Remember, it's divine truth what we speak. Divine truth, that's what we speak. And so this is why we need to have all of these connected in order to have that divine truth and that divine connection. Now, what you'll say, well, what do we gain by this, working with this throat chakra? Well, there's many things. It's to communicate with power and clarity. And so often, people can communicate, but they're not clear on their things. And sometimes it has to be you have to get in there and clean that chakra up. And it's not only for others, but it's for you to discover your unique truth as you open to understand more of the universal truth. This is what's so important. Your truth, being true to yourself. How often have we said that through a lot of our classes? Being true to yourself is written in all holy books all over. And it's a universal truth, because if you're not true to yourself, it's very hard to be true to someone on another level. And it's what you connect with. We're going to connect to spirit. So if you're not true with yourself, you're going to pull in the untruths of spirit at some point. And we don't want that. That's why we're doing this chakra, because we're preparing to get our own truths. And it's a better understanding of your own integrity, your own truth. That's what's so important. and to understand the true meaning, to be honest with yourself and all others. Because sometimes we're not honest with ourselves. You know, we sit and we talk and we say, well, if you know that you have, how many people have a talk where you talk to this part, your lower self and your higher self? And your lower self will say, oh, Isabel, eat that donut. And the lower self, the higher self will say, you know, you shouldn't do it. This is where we have to pick up the divine truth. That's just a very simple thing. We have to be true to the true self, to our higher self, and say to the lower self, back off. I want to be truthful to me. That's just a simple thing. And verbal expression allows you to share with others who you are in the outside world. It allows you to be all you can be. It also will allow you to take back your I am power in a positive way, not a negative way, because you'll be able to speak with power. And the fifth, we know that the fifth, it's in the fifth auric level, and this level is about 2-3 feet from your body. And this is, sometimes we have trauma in this area that we connect. This is where, in this etheric layer, is where if someone loses an arm or a leg, they still feel that arm and leg. It's in this fifth field. Now you'll say, well, why is that associated with the throat? It is. It's called phantom pain. So if someone has that phantom pain, we can go right into that level, also right into the throat. And that will also help clear up all of that. And this layer is also that you can recreate what is caused in another dimension or plan. This is the etheric layer where we can change that. We can recreate it. We can recreate, so we can recreate whatever we want within ourselves to become that powerful person of I am in harmony with ourself and being divine truth. And this also, this etheric layer, it connects to the possibilities that we can select our truths and our beliefs. This is the big one, where we can connect our realities and possibilities of our selection of what we know is our belief and our truth, our personal belief and our personal truth. You'll hear a lot when I speak, and I'll say, this is my truth. This is what I have collected. And because not everybody has the same truth, and that's okay. That's okay, because we all are unique and different. It all depends what we have in our connections. Okay, and the healing attribute is also in this layer of healing, because it's being a transformation of limitless. And so there's so much to these chakras, isn't it, that it's overwhelming when you just hear me talk about it. You say, wow. So what are the functions of this this throat chakra? Verbal expression, as I repeated. It's our thoughts and ideas that can be expressed and shared with the world through what? Through communication. Communication is, let me tell you how verbal expression is. In the past, did you ever see some of these reporters that can report something beautiful and it may be on a level, and you can hear someone say the same thing very harshly? See, there's the difference of where they are caught up with their throat chakra. They can be powerful, but with the big ego versus the gentle ego of the I am divine and truth. And this is where we hear and we listen. It's a listening and hearing. And so often we don't do that. So we got to learn to listen. And it's caught up in here. And sometimes we have nonverbal communication. And you know, this is a big part. with communication of how you display your actions. And right now in some of the channels, when they had all of the election things going on, they did have that. They had a person there reading the movements, the expression of the individual as they were speaking, and quite interesting body language. So that tells a lot about an individual also. And the internal communication, it's listening to our own bodies. See, this all comes from the throat, the hypothalamus gland, or through to the thyroid. This all comes through, and we got to listen to our bodies sometimes, because our soul will gently guide us, but we got to clear up the mind chatter and start listening through here. And that's when we're going to start receiving, I said, the universal wisdom which can be present. And we're going to learn that as we learn the other chakras. But as I have to repeat, integrity is the most important function of this chakra. To your own self be true. The physical connections that we talked about were, of course, it's the throat, the neck, the shoulders, the lower part of the face, the nose, but not your eyes. So this is the triangle right here. You're going to do it this way. Remember the triangle in the center. And also, it's this is where we can have telepathy also, as a mother can tune into her child. This also is a channeling source where the communication with the high soul consciousness. When I talk about communication on high soul consciousness, I don't mean just from a fourth dimension. I'm talking about speaking above Uncle Harry and Aunt Mary. Do you understand what I'm saying? To go above, that's where the wisdom is. The wisdom isn't in that earthly realm. That's an earthly realm. And the medium, usually mediums they communicate with people who lived on the earth. See, that is a third and actually fourth dimension. That's part of a third and fourth dimension. That's the dimension we live in. So we want to excel in this class to higher in order to help ourselves. Now, there's not saying anything is wrong with that if it's done with a high soul purpose. I got to make that very clear. There's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of people need to have that grieving process where they have to hear from Aunt Mary or Uncle Harry. They have to do that in order to help them to go through their grieving process, and that's good. And also gives them, also knowing that there's a better life after death, where a lot of times people, they doubt that. A lot of people doubt that. Where with this connection, they can get a little bit of truth from that individual, and they'll say, hey, now I know that there could be. It's a possibility. So when let's talk about when it's not functioning properly. Then there's poor communications in all aspects. We can't communicate with our friends, right, or relatives, or families, or units. Poor communication. Then we have a problem, and in groups sometimes that's a soul thing. We got to get working on our throat chakras, that we can all be in truth and have that communication ability. And sometimes people are just stubborn to listening. They only hear what they want to hear, and sometimes they tell fibs when this is out of order. They tell lies. And they believe their lies a lot of times when it's real dysfunction. And also they exaggerate. They over-exaggerate. They're always in a drama field. See, this is part with the throat. Because they'll go like this. They'll just talk 100 miles a minute all the time about all their functions that they have. All the drama in their life. And sometimes it's also perfectionism. We always have the need to be perfect. Then we have something going on in here too, because we have to know there's a little bit something behind that. Poor sense of humor. That also says, and taking ourselves too seriously. Sometimes that's a big problem. And also when you'll hear a lot of people say, you know, I just can't get moving on it. The block of creativity. Think about that. And supposing we have a block and we can't, like you're a writer and you can't write, you can't, supposing you're an artist, you can't, or you can't think of a new idea or something like that. Well, sometimes it's just that we got to work on our throat chakra then. And we can see that different. People say, wow, how's that functioning? But just listen. Ears, listen. You know, listen, think. And sometimes we just don't have any confidence when you have this chakra don't work. They will always say the wrong thing. You know, you have people like that. They have difficulty finding a job because they always say the wrong thing when they go. And that's part because of maybe the glands that are involved, you know, all these glands that work together. When people cannot speak up, that's the big thing. Then you know right away there's something in this chakra. Now when you see, you know, there's different things with this communication chakra. You have a true communicator, and that individual, the true communicator knows that if others do not hear what they say, they know that the recipient is not ready for the stage of hearing or understanding. The true communicator will know. They'll see in their audience, oh, they're not getting it. If you ever, you know, that's a person that can really communicate. You'll see and you'll know. They don't know what I'm talking about. And also, they will know that they have the right to express their hurt or their anger without hurting the other person. In other words, if you know someone hurts you, say, you know, I don't like the way you talk to me. That's being true to yourself, and that's opening up that chakra. And they will also recognize the power of the spoken word. So they'll be careful not to abuse those words. They'll be very careful. Now you'll see the masked person here with this personality, the masked self. This personality usually appears as a clown, wants to make a joke out of everything, because really they're not looking at the view of any real situation. They only go on the top of it. So they put a mask on to hide their own feelings of insecurity and lack of communication on a proper level. And those individuals will usually always think they're right in everything they say or do. And you'll find out, you'll be able to pick this up. See, the communication chakra, which is the throat, is the art of transmitting and receiving. It's like a radio. It's like we have to communicate. Because if you don't communicate properly with people, on a radio or TV, they can turn you off. But when you're teaching a class and when you're doing you can't turn you off, you just won't have any people coming. And that's okay, because maybe it's not for everybody. So we have to remember that. Now, a lot of times this all relates to sound. It all relates to sound. And the exercise is, usually we use sound, rhythm to exercise this chakra. We use sound and rhythm, vibrations, or words. And that's why a lot of people chant when they chant when they do this, when they try to open up these chakras. You'll find that. And I find out the best, simplest way is A, E, I, O, U. Some use the musical scales, but when we do A, I, O, U, you hear the different sounds? A, I, O, U. Everyone has a different vibration in your throat. And that's very good. A lot of people just do Om. But I think with the A, E, I, O, U, you have the different vibration. And a lot of people, when you're Jewish, you chant the names of holy names of God. And this is good. I've been in church where I don't know what type of congregation it was, but they would go, Jesus, 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 Jesus. That's a chant to them. So, or I am that I am. You hear a lot of different, whatever works for you. But just simply try the A-I-O-U. And we're going to do some of that in our meditation today. So I thank you so much. And we'll go on to our meditation in a few minutes. Okay, we're relaxing now to do the meditation for the throat chakra. Now, as you know, once again, you ground yourself where you stand with your feet apart and your hands up. And you let those roots go deeply in the earth and feel the streams of white light coming in your hands. Feeling the Mother Earth, feeling God's love flowing through you. Knowing as the energies merge to each other, you will have a cocoon of God's holy protection. Now let us sit down and let us relax. Take a few deep breaths. And I want you to sit where you're very comfortable, in a position that allows your neck to be comfortable and relaxed. Now let us breathe deep on this, breathing to the rhythm of 3. Breathe in, holding, 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 exhaling, 1, 2, 3. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, exhaling, 1, 2, 3. Once again, breathe in, hold it, release. And now I want you to just breathe gently. Breathe in through your nose and gently release it. And I want you to focus on your breathing. And at this time, remember, anything that may arise is only a memory. That nothing of the past can hurt you. You've already survived it. You are protected by the white light of God. See yourself in this wonderful white light that surrounds you completely as a fresh woven silk cocoon. Feel the silk around your body. Feel it warm and comfortable. Smell the clear, fresh scent that it gives off. And now you're bringing the white light beam down through the top of your head, through your crown chakra, going gently to the base chakra. Bring the feeling of warm beam of love in your root chakra. Feel that beam of love. See the shade of red. See the red energy flowing. And now you see the light spinning the front of the root very gently. And now it's also moving to the back, and it's spinning very gently. And also see the white light remove all unnecessary things in that area. Now bring this light up to the sacral chakra. See and feel the shade of